Welcome to the Season 3 of Maker Club by EEFocus in partnership with the Hackaday Prize, a world-renowned hardware design contest, and DigiKey, a global leader of distribution of electronic components and automation products worldwide. As our long-term partner, DigiKey would like to work with electronic engineers around the world to create and change life with technology constantly. Let's discover the splendidness created by makers together. Leonardo serves as the CTO and CEO of Shenzhen ESPE Technology Company Limited and is also the co-founder of the Theramino system. With a PhD in computer science, he has dedicated over 40 years to the field of industrial automation. He served as an engineer at IBM for over a decade and held positions as Automation Technology Director and CTO in several large enterprises. Committed to driving technological innovation, his expertise spans R&D, prototyping, mechatronics, electronics, firmware, and software development, as well as testing. As a PhD in computer science and the founder of several companies, please formally introduce yourself and tell us what work and focus you are currently spending the most time on.
My name is Leonardo De Palo. I come from Italy. And I have been the opportunity to come to China in 2012. At the beginning, I was a customer for a Chinese company. And then I worked closely with this company until we reach a good product, because at the beginning there is some quality problem. Then the quality was solved, and the president of the company asked to me to work for him. Was a very difficult decision to move to China with myself and the family. But the offer that the company gave to me was very, very good, not only in terms of money, but in terms of responsibility. And they give to me a residence, pay the school for the children, and pay the flight to come back to Italy. And I became the CTO of that company.
Currently, the main works include small collaborative robots and small robotic arms. Could you please briefly introduce their characteristics, especially about their innovation?
It's better to start from the beginning. Typically, automation in a big company is using a high-cost robot and high-cost engineer, because typically automation is made for large quantity and require a high-skilled engineer to maintain the robot. Think a production, for example, a car. A car, we have a lot of robots, and if one robot fails to make the one operation, all the chain is stopped. That means the robot must work every time without problem. To avoid that, there are some engineers responsible for each robot to maintain and control about if there are problems that need to be solved immediately. This kind of needs and the requirement is only for big company, because there are to do millions of pieces. In the small and micro company, automation is very difficult to arrive, because typically it's needed the high cost of the robot and the engineer to maintain it. Also, small company typically, because it's small, make small lots that need to have a very frequent change of the setup of the robot and change the program of the robot. And now, some 10 years ago, more or less, probably 15 years ago, some company build a cobot, cooperative collaborative robot, where you can move the robot to do this operation. But again, the cost of this robot is unacceptable for a small company. And again, also, this robot are running under Linux. That means any kind of operation that they do on the robot need to call support. And again, this kind of support have high cost, and micro, small company cannot do that. My idea, and now is realistic because I do some prototype, is to use basic elements to teach the robot to do some operation.
Compared with collaborative robots with an average load capacity of 3 kilograms on the market, Cobot has a wide range of application scenarios with a load capacity of 12 to 18 kilograms. What do you think of the broad market space brought about by increase in load capacity?
Referring to the payload of the Cobot, the smaller Cobot manages 3 kilos. And again, Cobot is studied not for micro and small company, but for medium to large company. Because this kind of robot manages a minimum 3 kilos and run under Linux. Again, you need some engineer expert to manage this kind of robot. In a micro and small company, you need to have a robot fixed on the desk, look like your third arm. And the weight that you need to manage is below 1 kilos. Also, 1 kilos is too much. Think you have 1 kilos to manage every day. You destroy your muscle, your arm. Maximum weight, from my point of view, is around 200, 300 grams, 100 grams. Or, for example, soldering is a very small weight. At this point, the robot that do not need to manage a big weight can be a very low cost. If you put in mind to have the maximum weight half kilos, the arm can be very smaller. But we can have 2 models, one for 1 kilos, but again, it's not realistic to have 1 kilos. A small and micro company work for others and receive parts to do in a small quantity. From my point of view, small micro company do not need Cobot with 3 kilos.
Currently, what are the main application scenarios of our products? Small collaborative robots and arms? What is the profile of your customers? In the meantime, what's the customer feedback like?
I have made a trial with the children of 8 years, 10 years, or secretary or person that do not have any kind of acknowledgement. And after some trials, he can understand how to do. And it become very, very simple. What is the evolution? The evolution is starting now with a company to produce an aluminum robot with high precision. Unfortunately, high precision means high cost. That means if you accept an error of 1 millimeter, the price is very low. If you need very high precision, you need to pay. But in a micro and small company, as you are working by hand, it's not needed very high precision. 1 or 2 millimeter can be accepted. If you need to make a soldering screw, less than 1 millimeter, as a millimeter is acceptable. And that means that the robot that is fixed on the desk becomes really your third hand, and you can cooperate. For example, you can have a pedal in some operation, and the robot can help you to increase quality, speed, and the reliability of the product.
In your decades of development, you have finally shifted from being a worker to being a maker. What do you think is the biggest difference? Please talk about it in terms of mentality and specific matters you are engaged in.
Referring to the maker and the worker, I would like to say my personal experience. I have worked for IBM 10 years in the history when information technology was at the beginning. And in that period, computer, mechanics and so on, was a device that have a lot of mechanics. And this mechanics pushed me to understand. I was an engineer to repair mainframe and machine, and become good manuality to prepare it. And during the day, I work for IBM. In my spare time, I begin to make some experiment with the motor, electronics, and so on. And this passion is followed every time. Then I become an expert in automation, in industrial automation, but I think this is special. I develop and I invent solution that normal automation cannot be done. Another thing that I like to me about Maker is the opportunity that China offers, because in China happens very strange things. You can order online items and they arrive in front of your door the day after. That permitted to me to make a lot of experiments with technology.
As a maker and a manager, you will be more sensitive to the upstream and downstream industrial chains. What do you think of the industrial ecological environment in China and even Shenzhen? What are your views on the supply chain of the electronics and machinery industry in particular?
When I came in China for the first time, and the president of the company that employed me as a CTO offered to me to decide the place where to live, I make some round about Shenzhen. And Shenzhen is a very fantastic town, unbelievable. And I needed to search in 2012 an area where I can send my children to school and have some other expatriated to meet. And I found in Futian some type of person, but typically are not family. And in Shekou, I found another reality when there are a lot of family, father, mother, and children, and the school. That permitted to me to stay in a very nice place and to have the capability to send to school my children and have other international family good contact. In that period, we stay near the sea. We found a very nice place around Shenzhen. I go to animal park, I don't remember the name. Another thing unbelievable from an engineer is Quachon Bay, where you go to buy everything. For example, all of these parts is bought in Quachon Bay. And in that period, I pass all the weekend when my family does not stay in China. I pass Saturday and Sunday in Quachon Bay to explore every road, every building. And I found things that are unbelievable. I was very, very happy to stay in China. And I would like to continue to stay in China. Another thing really important in China, and in particular in Shenzhen, is the supply chain, where you can find everything that you want. Mechanics, electronics, hardware, software, firmware, electronics component, molding of a plastic, aluminum, everything is, you have the idea and a clear view what do you want, you found everything in China. Also, government supported this, because I see there are a lot of startups that make very innovative product, look like the mine, right?
Based on your company's cooperation with iMakerbase, what problems do you think this accelerator has mainly helped you solve? At the same time, what optimizations are they making that will benefit your company?
I meet iMakerbase on Christmas event of 2021. Some friend invited me to stay in this event, and I discovered this reality. This reality is perfect for me, because it permitted to me to have an office, a place, an opportunity to have an interview like this, and support me to buy material, to buy everything, and use a lot of company that stay around the MakerBase. Look like a parent company where you go to development, to architect, to electronics engineer, and discuss about items and have idea. In this case, iMakerbase helped to me a lot to transform my idea in product that you can see. But it's better to not say product. This is prototype. This is proof of concept. Demonstrated the concept. And now there are good companies, serious companies that are interested to my proof of concept, and we are working to generate real product for micro and small companies.
As a maker, how do you integrate so many knowledge and skills, including prototyping, electromechanical, electronics, firmware and software development and testing, and more?
I have been the opportunity to work for a lot of companies. As I said before, I worked for IBM for 10 years. In the period when when the information technology was at the beginning, and I was responsible for airport, for hospital, for government office, and also for industrial company. That means to make information technology running, you need to go in deep about the needs of each company. For example, a pharmaceutical company has a total different needs from mechanical or electronics company. And 10 years of IBM formed me in a very fantastic way, because every 6 months I have the capability to work on new product, new customer, until I go to work to development, research development, because I work for the first IBM printer that printing in color. Then after 10 years, some company asked to me to cooperate, and I work for broadcasting TV, national TV, pharmaceutical, mechanical, TV production. And at the last I work for a machine that produce coffee. And then I became responsible for a company that make a satellite decoder. That I means worked in TV compression, and then I work with fiber optics transmission data. Then I work for a company for cash register, for CD. That means I make really a lot of experience. In the last 10 years, when I work for the company, when I was the CTO, I study innovative automation to reduce the failing, increase the quality, reduce the cost, and improve the quality of the life of the work. I have the opportunity to make a lot of experience in the other company, and now I transfer my experience into this.
Having been involved in industrial automation for more than 40 years, what experience can you share with us about the industry, especially the makers in the industry?
Someone asked to me a suggestion to give to the startup makers. And my suggestion is follow your idea. Do not be dispersive to following other proposal and so on. If you have the idea, if you have your dream, you do not sleep in the night to realize your product, follow only this in terms of quality, reliability, cost reduction, availability. Beautiful if possible. It's not fundamental, but it's beautiful if possible. What really the customer needs is the function of the device. And the startup, the maker, need to discuss in deep with the potential customer to understand what is the real needs. In this case, you will do a very good product.
DigiKey,